Hello, everyone. I believe we are live now. So, welcome once again to another live stream for Investing with a Difference. So, we are going to today again look at EOS news, but of course, we will start with the markets as there has been some movement. If you watch my video yesterday, I think I was looking at critical levels. I think I talked about market being close to key resistance levels. And as I was not really expecting it to happen overnight, but really we saw a big drop in Bitcoin, and this has actually dropped quite a bit. Let me quickly remove this ad. So yeah, so I think we didn't really make it to the resistance levels. Oh, actually, my this seems to have moved. So let me just fix it a bit. So yeah, as I said, we have not really moved all the way up to these levels, but we were very close, as I said, to these resistance levels. Oh, okay. I think I know the difference. Somebody has changed with it. So I usually use the log chart. Okay, now we can see what I was talking about. So on the log chart, I usually see this trend line and this 200-day moving average. I think this is again not in the reach. It's coming down and we didn't make it. So let's have a quick look at the shorts. So as you can see, what is really happening? I talked about this huge short position which came in on 2nd September, and they are maintaining these shorts. So I think right now what is happening is there is this some muscle being shown by bears, and what they're doing is they're trying to bring down the spot market and trying to make money in the shorts. And they're still holding it. In fact, the shorts are still maintaining at that high. So the good news is that we have not dropped below the 6850 area, which is very critical because, as I said, we are still maintaining around $7,000 mark. And when we broke out earlier, around 6850. So let's look at the hourly chart. So this was a huge volume, as you can see, in a very short time, and that usually represent somebody trying to manipulate the market while very quickly the buying set in. And this is, I think, not a bad thing right now. We did need some kind of consolidation, some kind of correction. And as you can see, this has happened before in this up move. We have seen a lot of big down moves, and still the shorts are still piled up. So I think if this move does not pan out for these guys, they have to book profits at some stage. And if, of course, shorts are not as high as we had. So let's go back and look at maybe a month-long chart. So hopefully, if these shorts will keep piling up, assuming that they will be looking to bring this price down, and that can create some kind of short squeeze if this does not go below 6850. So that is my expectation. Of course, we can again, as I said, if we keep looking at the daily chart, there's a good chance that we never make it to this 200 moving average again, because this has happened in past. I think everybody's looking at the same chart, and there are a lot of analysts who are talking about these resistances, and I think that's what happens. Market reacts early sometimes because they don't want to wait till last minute to short or to sell out. So we have to watch out. I think we had a bigger hit on EOS, as I understand. EOS is quoting at below $6 again, and that was a risk, as I had been quoting. But the good news again is that we broke out of this trend line, and we have not gone down below this trend line. So that's again a good news. If we are able to sustain above this trend line, we can resume this uptrend from the US dollar perspective, and that is something which we need to watch out for. So this is how the markets are looking. I hope that people are keeping safe and not really trading something which they cannot lose, because this is a very volatile market, and that is something which you need to always worry about. So what is, let me have a quick look at the YouTube chat. So today I have a much better setup. I can see the chat better. So please let me know if you have any questions, and we will keep going with some other ideas. So I hope that you must have caught up on my videos. I talked about the Ledger Nano S support. While I hope if you have seen that video, you understand that you need to create a new account. You cannot really import easily your existing account because they come with a private key which is already exposed, and you need to create a new safe private key inside Ledger Nano hardware. That is how the hardware wallets are used. That's how you really keep your keys safe, because you never bring the hardware keys out. They're always stored inside the hardware wallet. And that's how hardware wallets are able to help you and protect yourself. Now, what is happening with existing accounts? If you really want to use the same account, EOS has the feature of changing the keys. We have talked about changing active keys, but changing owner keys is really a tricky subject, because if you can do that, but remember, if you change owner keys, you have a risk. If you make any mistake, you cannot go back, because owner keys are almost like what happens with Bitcoin or something. You lose the owner key, and you lose, if you change it to something which is not a valid key, you lose control over that account. So this is something you need to really understand. If you are willing to do that, you can try it out. But I don't think even on this Fairy wallet. The Fairy wallet is a wallet which you need to use to really access your Ledger NOS. uh, I mean, using EOS on Ledger NOS. And for that, you need to create a new account. That's what they are talking about. And you can pay your account using whatever PayPal or some credit cards. So they have pretty good interface. So I'm happy with the feature. I'm just not ready yet to go and talk about changing the owner keys and importing your existing accounts. So that is something you need to make sure that you understand before you take any step in the direction. And we need to really figure out. So any hardware wallet, let's say this is one of the implementation, any new hardware wallet which will come out, they will have to create a new key inside the wallet. So there is no easy way to import your existing accounts. That's my take on it. Of course, I think somebody can do a guide on how to change owner keys. I would say that it is very, very tricky if somebody puts up a guide, and while watching that guide or while following the steps, if somebody makes a mistake, then it is very, very costly mistake. So that's something I would say that you should always worry about. All right, guys. So what else is happening? So any questions on this, on the wallet, on the market, please feel free to ask them now, and we will jump on to EOS apps. So this is what we have been focusing on. So what I have done is I have sorted them with the volumes. That means how much money is being spent or how much EOS is being really used for these apps. And EOS bet is still topping, and people really love gambling. As you know that there are other dice apps which came. There was a there was a DOS games, I believe, which is way down, because people really are, I think it's the same level of games, it's the same dice game, it's just the money at stake is much lower. They have their own tokens you can buy with EOS, or you can actually claim them if you were on Genesis Snapshot. And what you are seeing here is there are less number of users, and there are less people involved in this. While what you're seeing is where there is much more money, and they have actually increased their minimum bet size to 1 EOS, which is $6, and people are still betting. So it's crazy. I think be careful out there, and because I'm sure sometimes it's a typical gambling thing when you get really a feeling that, oh, you can win this game, you can really beat the system, beat the odds. But I don't think it's that easy, because house is always the odds are always stacked against you in long run. So be careful, don't lose your valuable EOS. But as long as you are having fun, as long as you are only betting what you can lose, it is fine. But don't get sucked into it. That's our recommendation. But again, in general, for the EOS ecosystem, it's a great thing. People are realizing that what online betting can look like using cryptocurrencies. Before EOS, it was not possible to have live gaming, and that is something which is really useful. So I think somebody just asked a question about Horus Space staking. So guys, I think let me just open the EOS toolkit. It's very simple. So Horus token, they are trying to create a currency for their. So if you understand what Horus Pay is doing, so Horus Pay is actually just allowing you to create a payroll system which is decentralized, which does not need a middleman. So what you need to do is you need to change, like you need to set up your Horus Pay, and you will get. You just go and set up your account. You put the quantity, how much you stake, and you press stake. And then after 7 days, you will be able to claim your Horus tokens, which is the eCash. So this is a new coin they are creating. This is kind of a currency which is going to be generated by stakes. So it's a very simple thing. There's nothing much to explain. What I understand is Karma is also coming out with staking now. So you can actually, I don't know what that means, the power of Karma. So I think we need to figure that out. So I think Monday is when the this starts. So staking of either Horus Pay or Karma, I think they're just trying to create a currency right now and enabling this kind of staking. And to be frank, means ultimately the token dynamics and the whatever are the rewards of staking. While I understand people are very excited about getting another coin, it will be interesting to see how the adoption happens. So it's a very interesting concept. I think they are doing very good job. Horus and Karma both are very strong teams. There are some great real world applications they are going after. And ultimately, whether this the rewards you're getting out of staking is that is something which you need to figure out whether it's going to be really adopted, whether it will be useful. But I think it's innovative. I'm very happy with the progress being made by these apps by Horus Pay or either Karma, what they're trying to do. And EOS Toolkit is the only good tool right now I know which can allow you to do that. So again, when Scatter is a great tool, do make sure that you're setting up the Scatter because that allows you a lot of things. And not just that, I think there's a referendum system coming, which will allow you to vote on referendums, and that will also need Scatter. So if you're not yet set up Scatter, please go click on your Scatter, download this extension, set up your identities. There are a lot of guides online. Please do that, and you will be able to do all this. You will be able to interact with these kind of apps. So I think we need to see how this evolves. Means, to be frank, I don't have any opinion on this staking tokens because I don't understand all the dynamics of it. I need to spend some time on these projects of what they're trying to achieve. But I think what it helps right now is by giving you rewards for staking. You're trying to take some liquidity out of the market because it's not a great ecosystem right now where there's a lot of liquidity because of the airdrops which happened and people are trying to sell and get out of the tokens, which is not a great thing for either dApps or for the holders who are really holding these tokens. So I would say that it is good that some innovative steps are being designed, and the token economics is really mature, becoming mature on EOS, which is going to help in long run. So what else is happening? So let us look at quickly on EOS blocks and see what are the, so as you see, the key thing here is we need to keep watching how the EOS price behaves. Now, what I'm concerned about is for quite some time, I'm looking at this ZB network being down. This is showing red dot. So I will investigate what's going on here. But it looks like even though they're in the top, they're being voted in the top. They are right now not really working as they should. So we need to, I'm going to reach out to people who are really maintaining this, like I think EOS Cafe, and what exactly this really mean, because it is concerning if the top three block producer is really not operating as they should, or if the network is down, if they're not producing blocks. There's some lot of information coming out. I think we always worry about ZB because I have raised my concern about ZB and Huobi because they have been very kind of opaque. They are exchange-based B block producers, and they're not really showing any great progress in terms of showing what is happening on the chain, who is the owner, who is voting for them, and so on. And it's concerning that we are seeing a red dot here. But overall, I think we have the same. Most of them are the same block producers. Cypherglass, which did the hardware wallet bounty, they made some progress, which is great. I think Team Greymas, that is also a good sign because these are the people who have really developed tools and helped users to get going. So many of these are actually good block producers. Some of them we always are concerned about, like yes, Fly to Mars, yours, Huobi, ZB. These are some things I think we still have a problem with um, this kind of the system where whales are voting, and we still need to keep helping the voting system. So what I'm seeing recently is that some new proxies are coming up. So while I think we are still growing, I think we are 1,070 people now, and we are now almost 1.5 million tokens. But I'm glad to see more proxies coming into system with different philosophies. So what I'm seeing right now is a BP governance community. This is actually an initiative by block producers. So this is interesting because now we are seeing kind of a philosophical proxies coming. based on association of block producers. So I would love to hear feedback from people on how they think about it. I think many of these proxies are either driven by some block producers. So if you see Tokenica, you see Luke Stocks is a great guy, but I think he's EOS DAC, involved with EOS DAC, but I think he's still at least not using the name of block producer. But EOS Titan is a block producer. BP governance is driven by block producers. Vote to change is again from block producers. I think this is from Acro EOS and EOS Soul. And Tokenica is a block producer, EOS Engine. So what we are seeing here is most of the proxies which are registered have some kind of a backing from block producers. So I would like to hear your views on whether this is a great idea. Of course, if you like those block producers, it is still, proxies were meant for helping you vote, where if you like one of the block producer and their philosophy, you can always trust them to choose other block producers for you. That is not a bad thing. But whether this is something we need to bring out more and more proxies which are based on some other ideas which are community driven, and those are like ground up kind of proxies, and that will really help the ecosystem better. So I'm not really happy overall, and that most of these things have to be done by block producers. Then it is kind of becoming a biased system again. So I hope that more and more people come together and form some kind of communities, discussions, and participate and create proxies based on certain ideologies. And that would really make a lot more sense. All right. So what are the other questions while we're talking about this? So we have a question about Ethereum. Okay, so Ethereum collapse from Cryptoverse. So let us look at Ethereum chart. So I think Ethereum has been underperforming big time, even when we were going up in Bitcoin and EOS and so on. I think Ethereum has struggled, and now it's actually making newer lows. And as you can see, I think I was expecting this, because you need to understand that Ethereum is struggling on many aspects. One thing is that there are a lot of ICOs which have raised a lot of money with Ethereum. And what is happening is they have to cash out because they are burning cash. Their coin itself is kind of totally useless. If you look at Ethereum ICOs, let's go to look coin market cap. So if you look at coin market cap, we are at one point we were at 700 or 800 million $1 billion market cap total, and the Bitcoin dominance was like 35% or something. Right now, we are talking about Bitcoin dominance of 54.5%. So what that means is most of the other altcoins, the smaller projects. So we have 1,909 currencies, and almost all of them are on Ethereum. And they raised, and there were thousands of ICOs which are not even listed on CoinMarketCap right now. All of them raised money in Ethereum. So they have a huge piles of Ethereum, which are huge bags of Ethereum. And those have not really gained any acceptance in the market. So you cannot really raise more money by selling your token in the market. So what you do is you start dumping it in the market. So people were hoping against hope that it will go up, and when it did not go up. So if you look at it here, in last few weeks when Bitcoin was making newer, making ground, like really going up, it was catching up on previous lows. We saw that the Ethereum was still not going up because people were selling into it, and now it's just crashing. And this is kind of bad for the overall market, because Ethereum is kind of struggling from many aspects, that because of too much liquidity, failure of really scaling up. The reason why EOS is successful is because EOS is able to scale up. But what is happening with Ethereum? So let's look at, I think it's really going down fast. So thanks for highlighting this. I was not really observing Ethereum. In last 5 minutes, it has actually crashed further. And it has really broken through the recent lows, so which is surprising. I think there is some big dump going on here, because as I said, if we go and break out below this, I think $200 mark, we may actually go to really, really low levels on Ethereum. So it's just a very disturbing, I would say, because you need to understand that all of these ICOs, they have raised money in Ethereum. And if Ethereum keeps crashing, it can have some very, very wide implication for the market, for the whole ICO world, and for the whole blockchain world. And you will keep seeing other coins crashing, because they will run out of their cash with this kind of Ethereum crash. and Bitcoin dominance can go all the way up to like last year's levels, where you at one point we used to have 60-70% market was Bitcoin. So I would say the implication will be that you will have more and more Bitcoin investment versus, and people will go and go to the safe mode rather than going into investing into the ICOs. And it's not great. While all of us understand, being an EOS ecosystem, we all always knew that Ethereum will struggle in long run. But in short term, you need to understand that Ethereum has built this market. Ethereum has really got so many projects off the ground with the ICO model, with the ERC20 model. So it is not healthy for overall market if Ethereum keeps crashing. So I'm concerned about it, but I think it looks inevitable right now. The pace it is gaining, and we have now broken through all the levels, with the critical levels. So I think it can go all the way down to $100, the way it is going down. So it will have impact on Bitcoin. I think that's why a lot of shorts are piling up, and I think this is something which we need to really worry about. All right, so guys, so let's keep going on the questions. Let's get back to EOS. Do we have any other questions of EOS? How do we put our Genesis account on our Ledger Nano S? So I have talked about it. Please rewind this video. You can see it. I don't recommend that right now. The only way to put your existing account on Ledger Nano S will be to change the keys, and the key which is generated during the create account process. EOS Ledger Nano S creates a public key, and that public key is associated with your Ledger Nano S hardware key, which it generates internally. And that public key you have to change to your existing account, and you make the owner key from this Ledger Nano S public key, and that's how you are going to be able to use your existing account. But that is not recommended because it is very risky step, and you can lose control of your account if you make any smallest mistake. So that's my caution against it. All right, guys. So what else is going on? They want to create new keys. So any other question? I don't see any specific question. How is EOS different from Cardano from block producer perspective? To be frank, I haven't followed Cardano that well, as I have not really spent enough time. It will not be fair for me to make a comment against Cardano. I think we are all really focused on EOS right now. So if there is any other question on EOS, I will be more than happy to take. So Scatter is an absolutely amazing tool. I don't think people realize how awesome this is. Not sure NSGem is getting enough recognition. George, I think you don't have to worry about it. I think NSGem is the biggest member of the community. I think he is. So I agree with you, first of all. Scatter, without Scatter, I think almost all apps would have struggled. This was the most important tool. And I'm sure, I think I have talked to him on a couple of areas when we were collaborating, but I think he's doing a lot of good work. He's a very down-to-earth, simple person. He just loves developing, and that's what he's doing. And I'm sure like people really respect him, and I'm sure he will get his dues when EOS really matures. Already, I think he's really, really important part of the community, and he's everywhere. I think he's right now part of most of the projects, because without Scatter, you cannot really do anything. So thanks for that comment. I think it's very, very important thing to recognize that what Scatter has done. And I think that is, and that's actually one of the points I was trying to raise in one of the discussions, where I said that people talk about that there is no progress happening. We need a lot of funds allocation, worker proposal, referendums, so on. You look at Scatter, look at Greymass. Like these people have done it amazing job, and nobody paid them to do it. So they, of course, Greymass had a motive that because they were fighting for a block producer candidacy, they were wanted to become a block producer, and they got voted and they got rewarded. So this is something you need to understand, that this is really, really important that people recognize that tools will be developed by community if you really love EOS, and that's how the system is going to mature. So a quick note, I think we talked about proxies, we talked about what the block producers are right now. So on the proxy voting, so I think now that the referendum system is coming into place, I would really go for this referendum soon. I will try to figure out how to add more referendums, but it is still in early days. I don't think the referendum system is in production, but what I hear is that it's almost ready. And I would look for still some support from community on abolishing proxy decay. But at this moment, proxy is still decaying. And as I keep highlighting, I think we are doing a very good job. I think overall EOS proxy decay has reduced, which is great. We last time we saw it was 6.5%, now it's 5.8%. So I think last few days people are voting again. I'm happy about that. And we ourselves are doing 2.52%, which is amazing because this is the sign of a very, very educated and aware community that we keep going down in this proxy decay, and we are refreshing our votes and making the difference. Now, overall proxy decays are actually going down. We are seeing, we at one point we were seeing 8% and 9% in some block producers, and some of them are still high, but I think overall it's going down. My only concern is right now the proxy decay is only helping. There's a whale supported block producers, for example, EOS Fly to Mars. They have only less than 2% because they have been supported by some big wallets who are there for profit, and they are maybe refreshing their proxies because they understand the importance of it. Not all investors do, and that is what is really causing the problem. So please go as a small investor. You have a, if you really want to change things, I think there's a big impact you can make by just refreshing your votes. I'm sure a lot of people are not voting with us as a proxy, they are voting themselves who are listening to this video. Please keep refreshing every week or at least once in a month to make this change. All right, so what is other questions? Have you seen the Modern Investor recent video about EOS and UBI? I have not really focused a lot on the UBI aspect. I did participate in the chat with Dan Larimer on the Rex channel at one point. I think he's very serious about it. He claims that he's writing a book. So see, guys, this is a great concept. I think UBI and all the ideas which are flowing, they are futuristic ideas. I don't think we are there yet. I don't think it's going to be possible with EOS right now. It's more of a hypothetical debate. It's not something you should worry about if you are only looking as an investor. But if you are something who believes in the philosophy, who believes that you want to make a difference, please join this debate. It's not a black and white thing. You need to really understand, participate in the debate before you make a comment in favor or against it. So I think anybody who has spent enough time, who has studied the aspects of UBI, everybody believes that it is a great thing. It can really change the world. The question is how to get there. Usually defining an ideal world is easy, but going from point A to point B and defining a transition from one point to another in a real world is very, very difficult. So those are the challenges. So I don't think that's happening because there are going to be some real world challenges even if you go about implementing it. So don't worry about that. I don't know about this video you're referring to, so I cannot comment about that video. So what are the other questions? My EOS is on Binance and I want to have all the airdrops. So guys, if you are holding your tokens on Binance or any other exchange, you cannot decide what airdrops you want. It's all about the exchanges. So let me tell you, even if the exchange supports the airdrop, you cannot do anything with it unless you are ready to withdraw them, because most of these airdrops are never going to list on Binance. Binance lists very few tokens. If you see, we talked about how many cryptocurrencies are there. Like there are 1909 tokens. And I'm talking about Ethereum, which has been like ERC20, which is very, very similar in technology to every other coin which is listed on Binance. But Binance has maybe what, like 100 tokens maybe, or 200 maximum. I don't know. They don't have 80% coins which are not listed. Now, when it comes to EOS, they have not even listed the biggest coin yet, the IQ token. So only EOS was listed, and there is no EOS token till now listed on Binance. So even if you get the airdrops, if you're not setting up your own wallet, if you're not withdrawing them, your airdrops are useless. So if you're keeping your tokens on Binance, that means you do not believe in EOS airdrop project. So don't worry about them. You will never be able to use them unless you set up your own wallet. So please go watch our videos. We have done many videos on how to set up your wallets. It's very easy. And try out with small amount of tokens. Don't withdraw. If you have a big amount, you're worried about it, you're not confident, start with small. Like for example, I'll show you, like you can create your account, EOS account creation by newbies. This is the video we did for how you can create an account. It's not very expensive. This is like, it takes a few dollars. It is almost like paying the withdrawal fees to Binance. Then you can set up a Grey Mass wallet. We did a video on best EOS wallet, the Grey Mass. Now there are a lot more wallets. I think even if you don't use the wallet, you create a key when you create an account. You are creating, you can use EOS toolkit. There are a lot of ways to interact with the blockchain to use your airdrops. But if you're asking, we have answered this question in early days many times, and I would like to repeat it again. If you have tokens on exchanges, you are at the mercy of exchanges on how you get airdrops, whether you get airdrops, or first of all, even if you get airdrops, you have to withdraw them because they are not going to list them. You cannot trade them, you cannot sell them. So you only can just see them, and they will give you an option to withdraw immediately, or else they will stop supporting them anyway. All right, so has there been any additional word on staking rewards implementation? So nothing yet. I think what I'm looking at is that staking rewards. At one point, Dan is actually questioning whether it's a great idea, because the reason why this whole UBI debate started was because Dan had this thought that if you give staking rewards, the big token holders who have millions and millions of EOS, they will stake because they are just holding them, and they will get even higher rewards, and the rich will keep getting richer. So that was one of the comments I saw. So I don't know what's happening. I have not seen the interesting thing is there is not much update on the Rex channel itself, which was originally proposed by Dan. So I'm kind of wondering whether it's even moving forward. So if somebody is looking at the code, some commits, I will try to have a look at that soon whenever I get time. I don't know how it is progressing, but you need to understand that Chintai, which is another token leasing platform, they are moving ahead. So even if the Rex system and the token staking rewards does not come, it will still become like a reality using Chintai model. And I would look forward to that on how they are going to start rewarding. And we need to understand that even if that reward implementation happens, you may not get huge rewards initially because, first of all, the dApps have to start coming in, leasing those tokens. There has to be a real usage of tokens. Right now, we are still in early days. We have like maybe a handful of apps, maybe around 10 or 20 apps, which are really being used. And only like 3 or 4 top apps are really making volumes. And they have earned enough to own their own EOS, and they're not really going to lend. So new apps definitely will come in. They will start lending, create a lending economy. That's when you're going to be rewarded. So it's going to be a process. While I think everybody is hurrying up, I agree that it will add to the EOS token value once the rewards start coming, when staking rewards happen. But it will take time, and please wait for it and be patient. And I think overall, the market is not looking good right now. So I think that will also have an impact on how much investments come into these projects, and that usually defines a lot of it impacts everything, how these things evolve. So right now, if the market keeps getting softer, we have a huge drop today, and if you see that whenever we have a huge drop, it's usually followed by a lot of selling, and that is my worry right now. So I think we are not going from a very high base like last time. We are now starting from this area. So I hope that market stabilizes, and we have some clarity on how much crypto investment is coming. So that will be important thing. So other questions. Do you know if scatter will be offered for iPhone? I think I heard NS James saying that it's going to be challenging, but I think I'm sure he would be working on it. But iPhone is not an open source system like Android. It's much more difficult to implement all the changes, and that is one reason I think it may take longer, or it may be more difficult. What I know is that on the other hand, Block.one and Dan Larimer has confirmed that they will be developing iPhone wallet. And knowing them, because they understand EOS, they understand that EOS wallets have to interact with the system. I'm sure they will be providing these kind of features, like logging into your apps through your wallet and so on. And I'm hoping that this is going to be very important, kind of what it comes out of Block.one. So it will be great ecosystem if Block.one can implement iOS wallet, and we already have Scatter for Chrome extension. in the browser as well as in the mobile apps. Um, I would love to see if maybe on iPhones, if because Chrome browser is still available in iPhones. So if there is some way, maybe I will see if there is any update. But maybe technically it is possible to go through the Chrome wallet route to add some sort of extension in the Chrome browser in iPhones. So I don't know because I'm not an expert technically on that. So let's see if we can get some updates from NS James. But what I heard from him is that his priority was Android because that was an easy interface for him to work on because of the way Android is designed. All right. So what are your thoughts on RAM? You think it will get back to record high? Well, I think it is a really difficult thing to say. I would say that RAM is continuously getting added. And unless we have some huge apps or maybe thousands of apps coming, we are not going to see those highs. We may slowly and gradually increase, but I don't know if this will really make a big difference. So let's see what is RAM prices doing right now. Um, so I would say that RAM prices have kind of stabilized. So let's have a quick look at where we are right now on eosrp.io. So just wait for some time, it's getting loaded. So my view is that currently the uptick in usage is way less than what is the real kind of supply. So if you see the supply, it's right now is pretty high. It's like we're talking about 72 gig, and most of it, which is reserved, is really being speculated on. And actually, I saw one of the tools. I don't have it open right now. I saw some pretty good tool which shows who is holding the RAM right now, and most of them are speculators. I've not seen apps holding the RAM and apps really needing that much RAM. So that is one thing which tells me that we will not be seeing the big high prices which we saw earlier. We definitely do not expect it to go up by 4 times. I think it was more than 4 times from where it is right now, maybe some 5 or 6 times. I don't expect that, but it should steadily go up if the usage goes up, and that will be defined by these apps. So you should keep watching the dApp radar. You should see which apps are really growing in EOS, and if there are a lot of new apps coming. So let's look at the new app dApps tab, and you see there's like I can see only 5 new apps. I don't know why everybody is listed as a new app, but anyway, I think these apps are something which we need to really look at, and I would like to see more and more volumes on these apps, and so that it keeps more and more new apps excited about it. At this moment, I see some gambling or gaming apps, and not a lot of other real world use cases which can use a lot of RAM. So that's where the RAM situation is. But let's see. I think you never know. I think it's all about adoption. It's all about real applications and usage of RAM. The speculation can work for some time, but you need to really understand that unless there is a real utility, and plus it is not scarce anymore, right? Means when we started, we had a 64 gig of RAM. Now we are adding RAM at a continuous pace. So the scarcity is gone. The usage is not picking up as we expect it to. So I think it will take some time developing new projects, real world use cases. It takes time. I'm myself working with some developers, and also I'm talking to many dApps like in the teams. And what I'm figuring out is that it takes time to really test out features, to really launch an app, and to get to the adoption. And that really defines whether you get real usage of RAM. All right, guys. So any other questions? I need to start wrapping up now in next 5 to 10 minutes. So please send us your feedback. So one thing again, I highlighted that in yesterday's video. So we being the only proxy which is independent of block producers, we being the only, I think one of the biggest proxies. So when I was looking at the statistics of the registered proxy, and what I realized that we are in terms of number of people, we actually have the same number of people as everybody else combined. So we thought that it's our responsibility to start showing you some more details about proxies, but especially the proxies we have voted for. I'm trying to do is I'm mostly connected to many of these proxy and the block producers, and I'm thinking about doing a block producer series. So we will start doing a very short and updates on block producers. Not our intention is not to create huge interviews, but focusing on what really is happening, what the views of these proxies are in terms of the EOS ecosystem, how we are developing, and I think that's something which we will be really focusing on in this series. And I would appreciate your feedback. If you have any specific questions you want us to ask, please keep sending us on the comments on our email or Telegram channels. What really you are interested in, because ultimately it's your voice. I think as I say, that we have 1,070 proxied accounts. It's a huge community of people. So we need to understand this, and please voice your opinion. We want to understand what concerns you, what you want from these block producers. And while I think some of these block producers are talking about big things like governance, while development and so on, ultimately we need to get together and raise our voices about what matters to the token holder, what happens to the wider community, which is really looking forward to EOS adoption, which is really looking for how do you make good progress on EOS. So I think this is where we are, and hopefully we will try to bring you more and more informative content. So including what is happening in EOS dApps, but we want to focus a lot more on what is going on in the block producer world, what they are doing, and how they are booting the ecosystem. So this is our continuous focus, and you will see more and more information about block producers from us. So thanks once again, guys. I think if there are no more questions, we will wrap up the video for now. And please keep coming back, press likes. And if you want to support our channel, what we are doing now is, while I think some of you have tried to donate to us to help us grow this channel, I think one more thing you can do is you can use our referral code. So we are putting them in our description. So that helps us get some rewards, like for example, some tokens from Tribe. If you're registering with our Tribe account, we get EOS Bet if you're playing. If you are still addicted to that gambling app, you also get some bonus. So most of these referrals are actually benefiting both ways. So instead of playing without a referral, always use a referral, and that way you can also benefit while helping us with some funds or with the team members we're trying to bring on board within Investing with a Difference. So thanks once again for joining, and please keep involved. Please keep making a difference by communicating, by talking to people about what's really happening in EOS world. And do participate, do vote, and more in voting options are going to come in. So one thing I have highlighted multiple times, the referendum system is coming into existence, and your proxy voting will not help there. So proxy is only, so this proxy accounts and the proxy creation is only for block producer voting, not for the referendums. So please learn about that. We expect all of you to vote for referendums, and that's how we will make a difference. So thanks once again, guys. And I really love this live Q&A because we get to talk to each other. We have these questions coming in, and please keep that kind of engagement going. And do join our Telegram channel. So the link is right here. Go to our channel, youtube.com/investing with a difference. You will see the links for Facebook, for Telegram. Do participate and join us there if you want to have other interaction. We are building a very good community. We have a lot of good questions being asked there and some great discussions. So thanks once again. Bye for now, and have a great day.